blau, which means grayish, bluish, from the film, and großer graublauer Vogel, which is a big gray-blue bird. And what we did is there were lots of different pieces which Jono edited to one long piece, because it's much more interesting to have, that's how we would have done it in that time too, to do one long collage of the pieces and not have 30 minutes and then another 2.5. And then. So it became one piece and makes it much more solid.
Can you talk a little bit about how Cam started using the collage process?
Well, actually, collage is one of the elements of contemporary, of 20th century music, very much so. And Holger and me, having studied with Stockhausen, we were both of us were very at home in his electronic studio, in our master's Stockhausen studio. And there it was just normal, he did it, we did it, and we learned it, and we put pieces of tape together and made all kinds. I made before Ken all kinds of strange collage, and it's one of the ideas of the 20th century anyway, of in the arts as well, from Schhmidt in the 20s on, and has always been to. I mean, Rauschenberg did that, and it was always a part of the idea, putting pieces, like Duchamp said, which don't fit together. The famous Zoom machine on the ground of the sea. So this is one of the basic ideas of the 20th century art. So I grew up with that, and it was for me quite natural that day after we played something, and then we sort of cut it into pieces, or we played pieces in the other way around and then edited, and that's how we then decided that all the film music we found in those days, we did not put pieces by piece and little snippets, but make a suite every time out of it. Sometimes just with sort of fluid transitions, and sometimes what we actually with Can did very often, and what I did before, what I always called editing with a sword, just one and something begins, which actually is Eisenstein in his early films did exactly this. I mean, his editing everything, they are not elegant. They really, it's cutting with a sword, and that's what I very much like, and that's what Jono did when he edited these things too, in the spirit of our camp.
Were there other processes that you had learned with Stockhausen or with in your classical music education that then were applied in Cannes?
Well, yes, of course. I mean, there was the electronic studio, but electronic at the times, the 60s, electronic studio work was one thing. There you fiddled around with the ring modulators and stuff, and then put it on tape and cut it out and montage again, which actually for me never was so interesting. I wanted something I could spontaneously do on stage. So I had a kind of synthesizer in 70 built by a Swiss engineer. Sort of after my design, I didn't have any idea about the practical electronic, the craft you need for that. No idea, but I knew what I wanted, and I wanted that I have an organ, I have a piano, and I want to lead them through different devices like ring modulator, which we used in Stockholm studio very much. That was one of the main instruments, the ring modulator. You modulate, and you heard it, we ring modulated the sound of the radio again. That was one, so I had just I could just switches, which switched the organ and changed and ring modulated it with the oscillator and things like this. So I spontaneously had sounds I could work with, and that was very new, that didn't exist at the time, because movement is another totally different concept. All the synthesizers of this time, you had to switch and find, and until you had found the sound you were looking for, the group was playing something else, the next piece. So, but since everything Can did was very spontaneous and very inventing in the moment, so that was very important to me.
So what are we going to hear next?
What's the next one? Evening all day.